We're not going to use that at the moment. Then the very last one is sales here. So sales, again, we can customize the whole look of it. I'll click on this to show you where it goes to, but we really will come back to this in a different video. This is how we start to design and change how things look inside of this document. We've already got some tutorials on it, but again, we'll share that later. Save and exit. Don't feedback. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my gear icon, back to account and settings, and back to sales to get us back to where we're at. Hit my pencil again. Preferred invoice terms. You have the ability to set this on a per customer basis, but whatever you put as a default will default to everybody until you change it. Preferred delivery method. Print later, send later, none. Print later, or even the send later, it will force you to try to put an email in every single time unless you click off a checkbox. Put it to none for now.
Better.
Shipping. If you're not using shipping, like if you're not charging shipping to customers, leave it off. It just provides another field below on the invoice where you can put the shipping amount there. The key thing to know about that, though, is it is predetermined to the account where those incomes go to. So you do not control that part of it. If you then created your own shipping item, you could have a disparity between the two and have to do some cleanup. Custom transaction numbers, we talked about that before and what you can do with that. Service date, so if you're maybe monthly billing and you're a landscape company and you want to put all 4 service dates on one invoice, you would have that on there so you could do monthly billing. Discounts. This is always a frustrating one for us as accountants. The way that you utilize discount, again, this will predetermine where the actual incomes go to or the reductions of income go to. It's not, this and deposits are not the same thing as, they're not the same thing. So you have to use it wisely. You will be able to choose if you want to do it by percentage, by amount, and again, it's an extra field. Deposit, same idea. And then tips and gratuity. This is kind of a cool thing for restaurants. The reason it's asking if it's just me or my team, if it's just you, basically it's going to go towards your direct income. But if you have a team, now you have to track those independently so you can figure out what income it goes to what employee.
Right.
So we're going to do it this way. Then since we said it's the team, only sales receipts have the ability to do tips. And that's because a sales receipt, when you create it, you're taking payment right then and there.
Right. You're not going to invoice tips.
Exactly. But if you got a tip on an invoice as well, you should report it.
Yes.
So it'll update that basic template for you, and then we can hit save. Products and services. Whether you want to show the SKU number or not, the SKU number can be used for searching when you're typing things in, and it can help make it to where you can make unique numbers, especially e-commerce. That's pretty popular, of course. Pricing rules. That is a whole series in its own. You now have the ability, you can turn it on. As you can see, it says beta, but it's really neat. You've got the ability through the customer type, you can start offering specialized discounts. So perhaps you have retail and wholesale clients. This would be a great use of that where you could do, well, retail versus wholesale isn't the greatest example because it's primarily sales tax, but maybe they have different levels of discounts for different clients if you're a wholesale company. Track quantity and price rate. That is very important. It basically gives you the extra columns on your invoice so you can see your profitability on the product that's being sold. Any kind of inventory company is absolutely going to want to have that. And then track inventory quantity on hand. So this is an important one. You'll be able to do a lot more with the settings if you're choosing inventory items. And we'll dive into a video in that section, of course, coming up.
And these settings are super important to really be clicking before you start diving into customizing your invoices and things. This is setup, key setup, which is what we're doing in this video, but it's important to get here first.
Yeah. And reach out to an accounting professional, reach out to somebody who maybe is a little bit more familiar. The way you set things up now will make the difference going forward. You can change them easily, but it's going to help show you different options. So really, really important. Progress invoicing, one of the most exciting things. I love the fact this is finally part of QuickBooks Online. It's great. That simply means we have the ability to take an estimate and we can break it out to multiple payments, and it will ask you if it's by a percentage or by amount, and by line, so forth. Messaging, same idea as before, where you've got the ability for your different sales forms to change a default message that will auto-populate. So when you create an invoice, say, and you put save and send, it's going to then pull up a new window, show you whatever you've already typed in, least number of clicks wins is the point, and it can get it ready to go.
And it's nice to change it because here's your invoice.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like that default one. It's like you're yelling at somebody, here's your invoice.
It's also great that you can do the BCC here. So it's already got here email copy, right, to our primary. But maybe you have, well, if you're using bookkeeper accountant that's external, you can actually do a BCC to their email address, as if they tell you to, and that can be a capture place.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great to have that where it can be hard coded there. You can still add them per customer as well later on.
I actually had a client who did the BCC and the person left the firm and it threw a bunch of error codes because they forgot to change the setting to the new person. And when we did the invoicing, all the invoices came up, and that's how we knew to go in and change it. She's like, I don't know what happened, and found it.
Yeah. Then we have here, what is this one about? Default messages for estimates and other sales forms. Okay, so this is on the actual document, but not in the email itself. So
there's a message at the bottom, probably.
Exactly. And then let's see here. We've got our reminders. This is something newer too, which is great. So this is where they're starting to kind of do some of that cadence work.
Yeah.
That if you're not being paid quickly, this will shoot out a reminder to however you want to name them, your invoice number, company name, so forth. And you just populate these in.
Nice. Email
copy yourself as well. If you change all this stuff, you can just click the button and go back to standard message. That's actually newer capability also. Online, okay, this is one that is great and frustrating at the same time. Email options for sales forms, specifically their online invoices. This is how you set up when you have merchant processing, the payments here also set up, that you can email over an invoice. It will look very nice, beautiful email that they can click a pay now and actually get everything handled right then and there. You choose between a short summary or the full detail. If you're doing pay now through the email, you want the full detail. If it's short summary, and if you have this PDF attached, this will actually attach a copy of the invoice, but it will change kind of the look of the digital email that's going out when it's set up that way. So online invoices is what I was talking about, where it's more attractive. HTML is, it's still like nicer looking language, but it would be an attached PDF, and it doesn't have like that pay now button at all.
You want the pay now because it's just easier to click. Like you said, one click.
And plain text looks like from 1980. Then statements list each transaction as a single line, or list each transaction including all detail lines. I think you always had this ability, but it was in a different area before, I believe.
It was in the statement section. Yeah, this is nice. You can set this and really let that populate.
So this makes it to where, again, if every one of your invoices, again, landscaping, if it's just one line item, then you just do single line. It's going to show invoice number, total amount. But if you have people that are very particular about it and they want to see the invoice and the items that were listed on it that made that amount, that's where you would make that change between the two. And then the show aging table at the bottom is, depending on the dates for your statement, if there was past due stuff from prior period, that aging table would show why the statement started at a beginning balance of 500 or whatever it may have been.
And sometimes it's powerful to see that. It kind of encourages the fact that it's behind. And
yes. So that is a pretty good run through of not only how to go through all the company file settings initially, but we've also shown you how you can do part of the import process when we did what we did for the chart of accounts. So in our next video, we will keep pushing forward with, actually we'll go over some more of the settings for setting up projects and talk a little bit more about progress invoicing. So be sure to check that video out also.